do that. I gotta grow my mustache out real thick. Like, I'll grow the beard, and then I'll just shave it so that nothing but the mustache remains.
And right here.
Yeah.
See, the thing is, though, I've come to notice it's slowly fading in on itself. It's like slowly closing the gap, but it's very slowly.
Yeah, you get the white guy beard is what you got.
The mustache, it frustrates me. Like, long beard doesn't affect me. It's the long mustache where it's like it gets in your mouth and it's just
when you're
chewing
and yeah.
Or even
Fuck. That's
even
my
once
quarrel,
you get
man.
like, wait, what's your quarrel?
I get it in my mouth all the fucking time when I'm eating. Yeah, you may not think so, but these on the side are actually quite fucking long.
You wonder where they all go, right?
Yeah.
It all just meshes into down here.
We have quantity. You might have quality.
It's got like the blonde Fu Manchu that we
Yeah.
It's just really long.
But you can't see it, it's just really white.
You could pull it out here and then be like, go ahead and touch it. It's like, boing, boing.
Yeah, it makes a twang sound. And it's like,
Twang it
guitar. It sounds like a banjo.
I get that problem with my my beard. The hairs aren't soft. They're really like rigid and rough.
Yeah, mine get that way too.
Specifically, the corners of my mouth, they prick my my lips essentially. Like they grow in a little bit.
Ooh, that
down.
would be annoying.
No, they're not ingrown, but like
No,
the
I get
angle
what
of
you
it.
mean. Yeah.
They point down pretty much, and when I'm talking or chewing, if they're really long, I can feel them like poke my bottom lip,
Yeah,
and it gets
fucking odd, right?
super frustrating because you can't stop noticing it after that. And the soul patch does the same thing.
Yeah, mine, like the couple of hairs right at the bottom of the lip there, and the soul patch.
I've got a cowlick that my soul patch grows naturally into. It's
soul
like
patch into a cowlick. Right?
when I had my my long beard back when we first worked at RJ Millworks there.
Oh god,
Don't Google them. I hate that company.
The company. Actually, not only me, my cousin fucked over that company before I even got there.
Yeah,
That's great.
We've gone over that. When I had that beard, you never noticed this because I fucking trimmed it, but my soul patch grows in like a 90-degree curve straight out my face. So like my profile is like beard and then like hair straight out, and it's at like a fucking 30-degree angle pointed left, and I can't do anything about it. It goes there every time, so I trim it. I go straight up.
I literally picture this one thing of like your face being sideways. Like someone took a picture of it and then just made like a Smash Bros map out of it, and like all they fight on is right here.
Pretty much, yeah.
Right on that lip.
It would probably keep going if I didn't trim it. Like it would just go straight out.
It fights gravity. It fights gravity. It's actually going up.
I feel like if it was like a really gusty day and the wind was blowing, like I would just feel my soul patch waving in the wind while the rest of the beard remains stationary. It's like it would be that far out on my head. All right, well, this is Tomfoolery episode whatever the fuck. I don't really know.
6.
Who's counting?
Episode 6.
This is Brendan here. Call me whatever you want. I really don't. I was gonna come up with some nickname, but
Yeah, you usually have some smart ass comment for the beginning.
I'm drinking a nice coffee. I'm too pleased with myself. I got a little chubby grown because of it. And we got Adrian here.
What's up?
And McAvoy.
Yee.
We can't call him that because then I start thinking of James McAvoy, and then I can only picture him in Split when he's pulling the bars across, and he has a weird fucking face.
Don't spoil it.
Literally, if you see anything about this Split movie, you always see him pulling metal bars apart, trying to squeeze his head through it, and because of the like whole premise behind it, his mouth is also semi-covered in blood and shit. So like you get this like red liquid coming out of his teeth as he's trying to squeeze his face through it. So you get this big right as he's like trying to squeeze his head through metal bars. It just doesn't work. But it's a creepy fucking face.
Now I gotta see that.
It's a good movie. Like the movie as a whole. Like don't get me wrong, I enjoyed the movie Split. I didn't understand that it was a sequel, like in a spiritual sequel.
Big air quotes.
Yeah, big air
sequel.
quotes. Spiritual sequel.
Whoosh. Yeah.
Yeah, whoosh whoosh. To Unbreakable. I think that's what it's called, right?
I'm sure that it was just intended
Bruce
to be
Willis.
a standalone movie, but he kind of...
No, actually, the original plan was for it to be a sequel. It's just they throw in the fact that it's a sequel right at the end. It's kind of like Marvel doing their after credits thing. It's kind of like, hey, the story's dying down. Here's your little teaser.
Cool. Okay, so set scene. You've got M. Night Shyamalama Ding Dong in the fucking studio with Fox executives there, and he's pitching his movie, and they're finally catching on to him. Because, like, Fox, or no, was it Sony? Sony is the one who have the shitty non-profit movie these days because they're doing so bad. So they're sitting him down, and they're finally catching on that they're losing money. Yeah. And, you got Shyamalan's pitching a movie. He says, all right, okay, I've got this idea. It's about a guy who has 30 different personalities.
Wait, no, it's...
It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. It's a bunch of them. I'm just using a fucking number I pulled out here.
No, I think it's 23 though. But anyways, go on.
So, and they're like, okay, that's okay. And it's got McAvoy. All right, budget won't allow it. Fuck you. Get out of here. And it's like,
Go away.
No, it's okay though. We've got young girls, and they're the victims, and they're really hot. And it's like, you guys, okay, you got me. What else?
You're bringing it back.
What else? We referenced The Shining with him pulling the bars apart. That won't sell. Kids don't know what The fucking Shining is. Get out.
Fine. How about Unbreakable?
Yeah. And they're gonna kick him out. And that's when he starts begging them. Wait!
Bruce Willis.
It's a sequel to Unbreakable. All right, sold.
Wait, we're bringing Bruce Willis back. Oh, fuck yeah.
Is he in the movie?
Yeah.
Oh.
That's how you can tell it's a sequel to it, is because at the very end, he's playing that character from Unbreakable again, and he's sitting in a cafe. Basically, spoiler to the ending, not that it actually deals with any of the story, it just connects it to the sequel, or that it is a sequel.
Yeah.
It panders to like a cafe, showing the events of what just happened in the movie over a news thing, where it's like, oh, this person's ran off, they call themselves the Horde, blah, 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 because it's like, this is based off a superhero, right? So, villain named the Horde. So it's like, oh, the Horde was here, blah, 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 and then they're like,
wait. HORDE?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, I thought you were saying the whore.
No, the Horde. HORDE. Like
It's
a horde of
that,
enemies.
I know prostitution's illegal, but
Yeah.
like that's a little bit too far, I
Yeah,
think.
no.
Villainizing
So anyways, they're showing this on the TV at like a cafe diner, like one of those like old late 50s diners, right? And they're all sitting around, and you get this pair of people sitting there like, man, wasn't there something like this a couple years back? What was the name of that guy? He was in a weird wheelchair and all this shit. And then
Mr. Glass.
Yeah, that's when Bruce Willis's character leans forward and goes, his name was Mr. Glass, and he just kind of like takes a sip, and that's it.
Out of a plastic cup because he's too careful these days.
Yeah, yeah, of course. Right? No, but he takes a sip.
Never touch glass again.
Yeah, that's basically it. But like Mac's seen Unbreakable, I haven't. So like to me, I saw it as a standalone movie.
No, it's a standalone movie with an homage, and then I think we've talked about this previously, but like
Well, I think you and I discussed it.
Summarize it.
yeah, it's pretty much in Unbreakable. They have like some scenes that are about a family, and that apparently is James McAvoy's character's family.
Okay.
In
Oh, okay.
Split.
See, like that I didn't know. Like, because Unbreakable is a comic series, and yes, I know comic books. Honestly, they're all the rage with everything nowadays. You can throw a stone and somehow it has the comic book origin.
Them comic books,
Yeah,
them
right.
newfangled kids.
Speaking of which, I'm going to discuss some with you about comic books after, since I finished all the Wolverine ones I was reading. Oh man. Anyways, with it being such a comic book baseline like that, and the fact that they're trying to pull in villains like that, I do like that idea, because they're trying to do that with Venom and stuff too, where it's a standalone villain movie that just gets brought into it, which seems good, because like there's a lot of whoosh whoosh, air quotes, there's a lot of references to how Life, that movie that came out recently about the alien life form that they took onto their spaceship to bring back to Earth.
Yeah, the movie where everybody screams really funny.
Yeah, pretty close. The idea was it's apparently a spiritual successor, whoosh whoosh, to Venom. The thing that's on the spaceship is actually a symbiote, and that's it getting to Earth, and then from there it's going to continue into the Venom series.
Is that actually
That is what is rumored around it.
Oh,
Whoosh whoosh.
I don't believe
Rumored
that.
whoosh whoosh.
I heard it was
I've seen way too many articles around it for it to just stay so rumored, but because of the internet and how it is, I'm really on the fence about it.
It's
Like,
fan theory.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah.
It's probably a lot of fan theory, but there is a lot of possibility in them taking that to try and, like you said, make money off of it so they'll connect.
I can already rule that out because Disney and Marvel are too property stricken to let a thing go by without their name being branded all over it.
Venom is owned by Sony.
I don't give a fuck.
That's the reason why. Venom and the Spider-Man franchise are technically owned by Sony. The reason that Spider-Man is now having a Marvel, aka Homecoming, as they put it, is due to the fact that Marvel and Sony have come to an agreement so that Marvel can release Spider-Man the way they need to.
They wouldn't do this because that's foregoing potential profit by not luring comic book fans to see this
Yeah,
movie.
if you're gonna make a Venom movie,
You would want people
you would
to
not
know it.
release the Spider-Man.
No, I'm not disagreeing with it. See, the thing is, though, is that's just it. Life is supposed to be that spiritual successor, or the spiritual prequel to it. So it's basically like basically if they feel like it won't connect enough to the movie, they can easily cut ties and go, nope, doesn't count. But if it can connect and they can make the story intense enough, that'll make people want to see Life and see how it started out. Because I haven't seen it yet. But if they make the Venom movie good enough that I want to see how the fuck it got to Earth, I'm gonna go pick up Life or go check out Life wherever the fuck it's on at the time. You know what I mean? Like that'll pull me into wanting to see the quote unquote big fucking quotes for this franchise.
Is that today's theme?
Yeah, today's theme is as many air quotes as fucking possible.
Yeah.
We're not touching disclaimer today, buddy. So we're going straight for the air
title
quotes.
should be Woosh, air quote, whoosh.
Yeah, I will do it. Woosh, air quote, whoosh.
The
That'll be
whoosh
whole thing.
whoosh of non-Marvel properties.
Yes, there you go.
I know. I think it's more like, oh, this story is like Venom's story. Therefore, it is.
I think I'm on board with that. That people just drew similarities. And
it's similar
given
stories.
the hyperbole of fucking internet people,
Yeah.
it has to be that now.
They planned on it being a Venom movie. It's like, no, it's just similar story.
No. I didn't say that Life was intended to be a Venom movie. I've just said that it's been rumored that it was a spiritual prequel.
I'm not saying you did. I'm saying that
Okay.
people online are probably.
Oh, people online probably are. No, I just wanted to make that clear that I wasn't making that statement because I don't have any correlation to actually connect it to it.
New game theory.
Yeah.
Life is a prequel to the next Spider-Man movie.
No. Not Spider-Man, Venom, because Venom is getting its own standalone release in 2018.
Is Topher Grace going to be in this one too?
God, I hope not.
I hope so.
No, it's going to
The
be.
dude literally went from that 70s show to Spider-Man, and his career just kind of went after that.
It's going to be the guy that replaced Topher Grace on that 70s show. He's going to be the new Venom.
Yes, do it! I would fucking watch that just for the humor.
And he's going to be in it, and nobody's going to like talk to him like he's a new character. Like he's just kind of introduced, and people played off like his character on.
To be fair, that basically be how it would be put anyways. Because when you start
That's
a movie,
the joke.
like really, you're kind of feeding right into what a movie is.
Yeah, that's how he showed like it's something Myers. Like it's like Breckenmeyer and the one who has Seth Meyers, their brother is the guy.
They just kind of injected him into the
Well,
show.
they're just like, Eric
Eric went off
and
to college.
Kelso both left, and then they were introduced, and I think
Eric went off to college. No, Donna stuck around.
Oh, okay.
Eric went off to college. Kelso went to Chicago because he had a daughter and he got a job out there. And then it kept Hyde, Donna, Fez, and Jackie. But Jackie wasn't as prominent in the roles in the last season so much because they were still doing that whole toss-up with her and Kelso. So she was prominent, but she wasn't. It was more about Hyde running the record store, Donna and that new guy having that, oh, we should be together, but we really shouldn't because I still love Eric, but we really should because I'm replacing him type nonsense. So it was like that up until like the climax, which is like them getting out of the 70s year, right? Hopping over to 80, right? The 79th New Year fucking bullshit. And that's when Eric comes back. That's when Kelso comes back. And they do this whole big thing where Kelso and Jackie connect. And then Eric and Donna connect. And it's like, oh, all this stuff. And then you get that brand new guy that's just sitting there. It's like, whatever.
It's like the Poochie of that 70s show.
Yeah, pretty close. However, did you know that Hyde, the dude, Malcolm in the Middle, the oldest brother, and there's a chick in The Walking Dead. They're all related.
Like I know Malcolm in the Middle guy and Hyde are brothers.
They're brothers.
Masterson is their last.
Yes.
Danny Masterson is Hyde, and then I forget the brother's name.
The girl
Francis and Malcolm in the Middle.
The girl came in. What was it? She was the lesbian that was brought in. And oh fuck.
The one who got shot in the eye.
No, the other one. The one that she was dating.
The one that's still alive.
Yes, she's still alive. That is actually the sister. I know it's really hard. I can't remember her name in the show.
Tara.
Okay, thank you. Tara in the show ends up she's I believe she's the first lesbian character that's brought in.
Oh my god, I love the phrasing, bring in the lesbian. Like, AMC's cutting costs trying to save money. If you don't know about them, they're notorious for that. They got rid of Frank Darabont after season 1, and they brought in some other guy, I can't remember his name.
In what show?
In
what show?
The Walking Dead.
Frank
Darabont.
Who's Frank Darabont?
The Green Mile. The Mist. Shawshank Redemption. He directed all those.
Oh,
movies.
the director. I thought you were saying a character.
If you're bringing up directors, we don't know. Like, I will tell you this. I know very few directors. I know like Kevin Smith, Michael Bay. Steven Spielberg. Holy shit! If I didn't get that one, I would have been really mad at myself.
Amazing repertoire you got there.
Yeah, that's about it. Exactly. Like, there's a handful I know. Like, that was 3, but like I know a couple others. If I see the name, I'll be like, oh, it's that guy. But like, I can't. J.J. Abrams.
That's the thing.
Shit like that. Like, I know very key ones that are announced on all these big movies. When it comes to TV shows and like B-list movies, even C and worse list movies, I don't know the directors for shit. I will watch it because of a character, like an actor in it, because I like the actor.
Yeah.
Or on the off chance, like Kevin Smith, who hits the B list and C list a lot,
Yeah.
I would watch it because I like Kevin Smith and I like the handful of actors he normally picks.
Yep. So that's the deal. Frank Darabont did Shawshank Redemption, Green Mile, a bunch
Green
of...
Mile I really
Yeah,
like.
a
I've
really
never
good-
seen Shawshank.
Great
In
movie.
all my years
Really
of
good.
living, I've never seen it.
It's really good.
Great movie.
Yeah. Bottom line is, Frank Darabont did the first season of Walking Dead. That's why that season was like fucking up there.
I don't see. The thing is, I do enjoy the first
I'm
season.
getting to my point. Don't sidetrack me. They got rid of him after season 1 because they wanted to cut costs down.
They cut, and then that's why it really slowed down because them talking to each other was a lot cheaper than zombie fights.
They had a point where one of the executives had said, "Wouldn't it be cheaper to just hear the zombies rather than see them?" And it's like, yeah, but you kind of lose all fucking thematic impact of the zombies at that point.
That really loses all impact of the show itself.
Yeah.
Seeing a bunch of people sitting around a bonfire going, man, I hear a fucking zombie coming, and going, oh shit, let's take out these zombies. Those are two drastically different reactions and two drastically different outcomes.
So the idea of them cutting costs so much that they're trying to cover all bases of viewership, they're like, oh, those lesbians aren't tuning in these days. Bring in the lesbian. What's her name? Tara? Bring her in.
No,
She's in.
she came in, I think that was season 4. Late season 3, early season 4.
She's in 70 episodes apparently. I just looked it up. Her
Yeah.
last name is Masterson.
Yes. See, told you. No,
70
70 episodes.
of The Walking Dead?
Yeah.
yeah. Well, we're going on what?
How
season
many
8?
of those retread the same plot as the previous seasons?
I don't know. Like they're I think they're at like 115 episodes or something.
Yeah,
like that.
she's been around for a good majority.
I don't know if
Yeah.
it counted the new season in that.
Are you a big fan of that show?
I watch it, but I'm not a huge fan.
Basically, the way it is him and I are the same way like you and Neil are for Game of Thrones. You'll
Okay.
watch it every Sunday type thing when it airs, but you're not sitting there going, I need my own throne, I need my own sword, I need my own ghost, I need my own...
There's a lot in between,
Well-
and I'm saying, if it got canceled tomorrow, I wouldn't care.
What? Okay.
Like if Game
What-
of Thrones got canceled tomorrow, or like it's getting canceled in a couple seasons, I'll be.
No, it's not. Well,
Okay, let me finish my point before you go on to your nonsense. But if Game
you mean facts? My facts?
it doesn't matter. If Game of Thrones, when Game of Thrones is over or whatever,
Really nonsense.
it's really nonsense. But I'll be disappointed to not be able to watch Game of Thrones anymore. If Walking Dead did not have another episode for the rest of the time, I wouldn't care.
Okay, so ignoring Dumbo here, McAvoy, what did you think of the trash zombie in the pit?
We discussed this, right?
What
Hey, remember when Rick gets thrown into that big pit and there's that zombie covered in spikes that he has to fight?
Oh, that zombie.
That's the trash
Oh,
zombie.
trash zombie.
The garbage pit that.
Like, what kind of intricate person is this? Like, we're gonna weld a bunch of spikes to this zombie.
The quality of that scene was straight out of like mid '90s Power Rangers. Like he was moving and the spikes were wobbling. Like.
It was like Mr. Freeze in Batman and Robin, where the icicles wave in the wind.
Yeah, like half the conflict was him falling down the garbage like an idiot. He was trying to get out, and it's like you could hear a slide whistle going off. He was like, "Whoa, no!"
All you need is a Three Stooges.
Pretty close.
It was so dumb, and like already he fucking got his hand cut. It's like, well, that's a death sentence when you've not got antibiotics. You got tetanus right there.
Yeah.
Good luck, loser.
Yeah,
Good luck.
There's like a lot of things that they get away with due to the fact of it's like, no one's really gonna fact check this much into it.
Just don't think.
No
about
one
it.
cares enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that's just it.
You're
Like-
suspended.
And with The Walking Dead, like it started to pick up. Like you can definitely tell the difference between season 1, season 2. I will admit, and
Yep.
even season 2 to season 3. Like you can see they tried bringing more into it as they progress, and they've gotten back to a good steady. I wouldn't say the show is the best. Like Mac and I agree a lot. We'll say like that episode is filler. You can blatantly tell they just threw it in there to fill in an episode, and it kind of sucks. Like yeah, it feeds a bit to the story, but there's a lot of just filler. But that's kind of how it is. But back to the Game of Thrones thing, once the series is over after the next 2 seasons, it's not done. They're doing 5 spin-off series.
I think they're
They've confirmed 4, there's a 5th one being written as we speak.
as far as I know, and I haven't.
And George R. R. Martin has actually signed off on all 4, except for this last one.
All right, so I haven't looked up anything regarding it. I know before you fucking interrupt me, the guy.
I'm not going to interrupt you. That was the point I wanted to make. It's a fact. Game of Thrones won't be over.
No, I'm
the
saying-
specific storyline, yes.
But that's what I'm saying.
Oh yeah, in that case,
It's-
but they're not making prequels, from what I understand. From what I understand, they're
Well,
actually
that's what I
spin
want.
off.
That's what I want.
It's a continuation from it.
No, fuck that.
See, I agree with you. I want a prequel. I want to see the
They've
Mad
already
King
got.
go through all that shit.
They've got so much material for prequel
They
stuff.
do. The thing is, though, is like I said, I'm not 100% certain that all like those 4 aren't, but I know for a fact that they're not all prequels. I know that there's some talk of some, because the 5th one apparently is supposed to be a prequel.
I want to see young Robert Baratheon.
Yeah.
That's the thing. People want to see that. They want to see the fight at the what's it called? The
Iron Islands.
Battle at the Trident.
That's it. The Trident.
Yeah.
I want to call it the Fort.
Yeah.
For
Well,
fun.
that would, if anything, if they were doing a prequel, that would be the big climax of it.
That's
because
just it.
the
That's
Battle
what
of the
I want to
Trident.
see. I want to see the Battle of the Trident.
The Battle of the Trident is where everything fucking happened, where Rhaegar was killed. Spoilers. Oh no, the character who's dead in the fucking original series dies in a prequel? Who would have fucking thought?
He's not alive anymore. The one guy who's dead in episode 1, season 1.
Yeah.
So, like, you know, like with this being said, we wanted to touch base on a Game of Thrones episode right before the new series started, and Mac and I discussed
When's that
this.
dropping? I haven't.
In July. July. I think.
Oh
it's
man.
I read. I think it was yesterday or 2 days ago, something like that. It said 60 days
Yeah, it's
until
like
the next
mid,
series.
yeah, it's mid-July, so I think it's like the 16th or
I
something.
mean, I'm gonna
Yeah.
be.
Oh,
like,
actually, I think it is exactly July 16th. Something similar to that. The 16 just stands out for some reason.
I'm gonna be like right on point watching
Well,
every episode.
See, that's just it. So are we.
Yeah.
Like, that's going to be a big thing for us. And that's why we were thinking, right before it comes out, we'll release a good summary of what has happened. And from there, we can delve on our theories, what we think is going to happen. It's good for content, so others can pitch in their ideas.
If anybody's interested, whoever, all you 5 people listening,
Hey, we're at 7. We got 7.
those 2 people left. They heard Game of Thrones and Walking Dead. They're like, "Fuck it, I'm out of here."
Pretty close.
So, if you guys haven't seen a good summary of all the stuff that you don't know about that isn't explained in the shows really in depth,
So basically, books.
more or less, it's a summary of those 2.
No, I mean, like, it's the stuff you'll get from the books you won't get from the show.
and supplementary material
Oh,
that
okay.
Martin was in on. There's a girl by the name of Comic Book Girl 19 who does a show on YouTube. She's got like summaries, big hour-long presentation summaries of like every house that's important in the show.
Yep.
Their entire backstory, how that relates to what happened that brought the show to where it is.
Yeah.
And it is super informative.
Sounds like a stoner Sunday for me.
It's, oh my god, I vouch the quality of this.
Well, I'm
They're
saying, like, I'm going to
fantastic.
sit there an entire Sunday
Yeah.
and just sit there and watch.
I've probably watched each one about 3-4 times, just of
Holy.
each family. They're really good, and if you want to catch up on what's important in the show, this is like the best way to do it because she summarizes everything.
So like, well, like the
important.
main like 4 houses, like the Baratheon.
Yeah,
Stark,
Lannister, Baratheon,
Lannister,
Stark, and
Targaryen.
Targaryen. Yep.
But they don't go into like Tyrell, or did she?
She may, but like even the books, they're not as in depth because they're not quite as important as the
Yeah,
big
it's
4.
the main 4. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's why, like, at any time it comes down to that show, you see the main 4. When it comes to the opening credits, you see the stag, you see the lion, you see the dragon, you see the wolf. You don't see random flowers. Right?
Yeah.
Wait, I mean,
Like, you got
Like
the
the 4 corners of the Game of Thrones logo are the 4.
Yeah, the 4 main houses. Like, that's just it,
Yeah.
right? And, like,
Yeah.
those are the 4 they staple on fucking everything for the show.
yeah.
So
Even though
it's
the
one of those
Baratheons are all dead, but it's
Are,
whatever.
are they all
No.
dead? No, one's still alive, isn't there? Yeah, there's still one alive.
Well, technically, if you want to say,
2, technically, if you really
what's
want
his name?
Stannis
Gendry?
Gendry. Yeah, Gendry's technically
Gendry!
A Baratheon. Technically.
The bull?
Technically.
Yeah.
The bull, yeah.
Yeah, he's out there rowing on the SS abandoned plotline.
I know. I rewatched it before last season, and I was like, I couldn't remember what happened to him, and then I was like, where did they go? And then all of a sudden, like, what's his name? Davos was all of a sudden just
Yeah.
like, go.
Yeah,
be
just
free,
sail that way.
sail
Keep the
wa-
coast on your left hand side, and he's just sailing around Dragonstone still.
Yeah, he's just doing laps.
Dead in the boat.
just doing laps.
Actually, yeah, that was something that came up on Facebook. I follow the Game of Thrones thing, so it notifies me when the next season starts.
Yeah.
And they release pictures every now and then. And like last season, as the season progressed, they had one of like the untold storylines. And as it's going through, you see this big boat that Gendry's on originally, right? And he's sitting in his spot.
Yeah, the SS abandoned
Yes.
plotline, yeah.
No, but they had all these other scenes. So you get like Hodor and like stuff, Bran in the back, and then you'll have Bran's little brother there with Rickon there. in like the front. Like you had all these guys, and as the season progressed, you just slowly see people disappearing out of this boat. Who's left is Gendry sitting in the back all on his own because everybody else got touched.
And if they had the book characters, there'd be a big giant fat guy called Wyman Manderley, who's a huge important character in the books.
I don't think I've gotten to that part. I'm still halfway through the third.
He's a Northman, right?
Yes, yeah. He's part of the Northern Prophecy. I can't remember what it's called. Northern. Oh, this is escaping me. But there's a whole kind of. I forget the name of the word for some reason. When people scheme stuff together.
Collusion.
Yeah, they're colluding, yeah. But there's this whole thing that they're doing trying to get the Starks back into power. Yeah. And Manderley is like a big instigator of that. And this guy's like this huge fat ass. He's huge.
Jabba the Hutt style?
Yeah, huge man. Like, and he in the books is the one that feeds Walder Frey his own children.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's the original server of the Frey pie.
That's cool.
There's no death involved with it. It's as far as I remember. He's just feeding Frey his own children, and like he's loving it. But when you're kind of clued in through the entire dinner, it's like, oh shit, he's eating his own children chopped up and cooked into pies. That's so evil. Yeah. That's so evil. I love it.
It's such a minor thing where you're like, oh man, that's like pretty dark. But like as he's eating it, like it's just more evil. With every bite, you'd just be sitting there, just acknowledging how evil what you just did was. You're just like. Every bite, that motherfucker just eats another piece of them.
Yeah.
Oh.
I like the last 2 books of Game of Thrones. I did audiobooks for all of them.
Yeah.
And it's like the first 3 I ran through pretty quick, so like I got to keep up with the storyline. But the last 2 were like so.
4 is such a huge drag.
No, but like also it's like I watched like the first 3 I listened to in like 2 months, and the last 2 were like a year. And so it was like I'm listening to like half an hour a day maybe, and it's just like it's really hard to digest that way.
There's too much like Daenerys discovering herself sexually. I find there's too much of that, and everything.
Well, I haven't touched the 4th book, but that's gonna be a lot to deal with.
She goes full lesbian with.
Not Missandei.
Yeah, Missandei. She goes full lesbian with her, and they're like, it's not even the good kind. They're like 13 when it happens, man.
Let's bear in mind. The book ages and the show ages are drastically different, a lot due to, that huge age gap.
Well,
it's supposed to be historical accuracy.
Like medieval
medieval times.
That's why that if you remember, or maybe you guys don't even know about this, but I think it was it the last season that Sansa was
raped by
Ramsay?
Yeah.
Was that last season? That's season
I think it was the first part of it, or
I think that was the season before.
Yeah, it might be this. Like it was either at near the end of the first, like the.
Didn't the season end with her and Theon jumping off?
Yeah. You're right.
I thought that's how it ended.
So it was the season prior.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So
since we're on 7, we're talking about season 5.
There was a bunch of like outrage from people online. They're precious fucking internet people that were outraged that Sansa got raped by her husband at the time.
Yeah.
And it's like, why is that the big problem? People have been raped in the show before. Men have had their penises cut off and shoved in their fucking mouths and shit. And this woman getting raped because she's a main character, it's so much more important now. It's like they expect Martin to fucking cut this back in the novels. It's like, people did way worse back then. This is like nothing compared to that, and you're getting upset.
The one thing I did, I kind of prepared myself for that scene. Not like in the sense of I paused it and went, okay, she's going to get raped, and then like get intense. No, like before the season came out, the actress for Sansa, who also does X-Men and shit like that, she was on a thing, and she blatantly stated that there was one scene in the next season, like this was before the season came out. She's like, there's one scene where like I even struggled acting through it. Like I did.
It's a tough scene.
But like she explains that there is a tough scene, so you're prepped for it in advance. You know something's gonna happen to her, and like of course you're thinking either she's gonna die or she gets raped. Like especially with that show, even if you've watched only the first 4 seasons up to that point, you know she's either going to die or get fucked. That is it. Because that's just kind of where that show goes, let's be honest.
Yeah. I love that, like, a big... Oh, you broke my chair.
You're leaning.
People, I wasn't leaning at all. I was shifting.
We lost a cast member. I'm sorry, people.
Cast member down.
Rip chair.
Everybody press F.
This just ripped off and
Everybody
split.
press F to pay your respects, please.
Yeah. Oh, my ass. That fucking hurt.
Allah.
Yeah, I wasn't leaning in the slightest, Max. So
Allah.
You were
No, I
going
went to shift.
Yeah, I'm saying, but like in the shift, you lean and then you put it all on one
We've
side.
lost
or
the
something.
man. Allahu Akbar.
Whatever. Just put it over here.
All right, well, let's pause this because I'm gonna get myself another iced coffee.
Speaking of broken chairs,
Speaking of,
how about that Iron Throne?
Actually, I'm kind of like, I do have a question. Like, I think I've brought this up to you once because it was posted in like, because I read this thing. It was 10 fan theories for Game of Thrones.
okay,
One of them I read, and I'm just curious because like you know a bit more about the prior to the story,
okay,
so to speak.
shoot.
With that being said, the Iron Throne, does it have any Valyrian steel in it or no? Because a big theory that I've read, not one that I say is true, a theory is that they feel the Iron Throne's going to get melted down, like the swords are going to be taken off of it to fight off the White Walkers.
I don't believe so. I don't think there is. There may be just by happenstance, but the Iron Throne is just made up of
Just a bunch of swords, right?
swords of people that defied Aegon the Conqueror, essentially. When he took over Westeros, he took it over with dragons and fire and just essentially conquered. That's how he got the title of Aegon the Conqueror.
Him and his two sisters there.
Yep. And how he made the Iron Throne is people that didn't bow to him, he just burned them, took their sword, and added it to the chair, essentially melting it into a giant throne. That's why Barristan says, you know, when he gave up his job, he throws his sword and says another one to add to the chair.
Yeah.
Because that's essentially how they got the swords. When people didn't swear fealty, they got melted, essentially.
No,
Their
so
sword-
that was kind of
yeah.
his FU to them. It's like, I don't give a shit about you or your family anymore.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Yeah,
Like,
think
I'm
of-
not serving you anymore.
Think of it as like a giant cod piece of kinglyship. That's all it is.
Oh, fair.
Yeah, it's a show of power. Yeah, and I don't believe there's any Valyrian in there, because if there was, then it would just be happenstance that it got in there.
No, I know. Like, that's why I figured I'd ask, because, like, a lot of people's big theory is, like, oh, that's how they're going to do it. They're going to melt it down, get all the swords out of there, because, like, the idea is there's Valyrian stealing those swords, and that's how you'll get rid of the White Walkers, right? So that's a big theory, and I can kind of see it, too, because, like, they talk about how Valyrian steel was a lot more common before, and not so common now. So what would have happened to all those swords?
Well,
Well, it's just they've gotten
melted
lost
down.
and.
Well, exactly. They've gotten lost and found, or
As far as
melted down, and all. There's all these other situations that
As
could
far
have
as I
happened, right?
know, there's about 200 floating around in Westeros right now. Like, about that amount?
Yeah, it's where like families have like
Yeah.
their family swords.
It's
like,
their big heirloom.
Like what's
Yeah.
Well, no. Like I
like
know.
Sam Tarly, his dad, Randall Tarly's sword is of Valyrian steel.
Yeah, and then you got Claw for Jon Snow, who they used to belong to the Bear,
Yeah.
right?
Longclaw, yeah.
Yeah, Long Claw. That's it, Long Claw. I knew it was Claw something. Anyways, with that being said, though, like, yeah, I know some houses have it, but like as we saw, Eddard Stark's
Ice.
big fucking greatsword, Ice, that he had, got melted down into two swords.
Yep.
Right, and Joffrey had one that didn't get thrown into the fucking river or some shit like that.
I
I can't remember
That was
what happened.
that
to
was
one.
before. That was his old sword.
Yes, I know. Then he has a new one, but I can't remember what happened to it before he died.
Like one Brianna Tarth has. That was the one
Yeah,
that Jamie
Oathkeeper.
had. Oathkeeper. And
Right. Okay. That's. I was wondering what happened to the second one.
And then I forget what happened to Joffrey's. Wasn't it like
I can't
It
remember.
wouldn't
what that
Slayer
is.
or something?
yeah.
Widow's.
Cry or something like that.
It
Yeah.
was something stupid. I remember that. Because originally he wanted to call it Lion something at first when he first pulled it up.
Widow's Tears.
I
Something.
think it's Widow's Tears, yeah.
Yeah,
Widow's
'cause
Tear.
Yeah.
when he originally picks up the sword, he's like, "Oh, this is great."
And they
I'll
made a
call it,
dagger
like-
as well. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. He's like, "Oh, I'll call it Lion or something or other," because you know him. He was all about the lion then.
Yeah, then he calls it Widow's Tear because it's of course he would call it Widow's Tear.
Narcissist
Fucking-
himself.
Piece of shit, that kid. Christ. So, you want to hear the weirdest theory I've ever heard about Game of Thrones?
Yes.
Is that... okay, the idea...
Like, really?
The idea is that Tyrion is Daenerys' weird time-traveling baby from the future. So, what happened was...
I don't even think I'm sober enough to handle this nonsense.
Okay. So the idea is that during what's his name, Tywin's wedding to his wife, there was a very specific line that the king at the time, I think Aegon was Aegon the
Okay.
Mad, yeah, Aegon the Mad, yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
He had taken certain liberties, whoosh whoosh, big air quotes here, taken certain liberties with Tywin's wife, and it's not implied directly what those liberties are. A lot of people can just say, oh, well, he just fucked Tywin's wife. You know, he's
Just
the
'cause he
king.
wanted to,
He could
yeah.
take what he wants, essentially.
Yeah.
So some people think that because it is a Lannister, which are notorious for inbreeding, combining blood.
Targaryen.
Both of them do that.
Are they?
Yeah, both of them.
Oh,
do that.
I thought I know the Lannisters like the two specific ones. I didn't know like it actually trailed back into their lineage a lot more.
There's a big problem with that in that family.
Oh. Then why the fuck was Tywin so pissed about it?
Because you don't want people knowing about that.
Yeah.
I suppose.
It looks
You
bad
keep-
for the family.
It's hush hush, man. You gotta keep that shit a secret.
I suppose.
You know, getting Snooki on under the table there. is
Everyone,
why-
everyone looks down upon the inbreeders.
So the idea is that you've got two families that are inbreeders, essentially, mating with one another, and one of them is a fucking Targaryen, which are like fucking weird elf people from a mysterious land covered in fog.
White hair and purple eyes.
Yeah, you know. Wish they did the purple eye stuff in the show, but
Yeah.
so
That actually would be cooler.
She was the only one ever like her brothers didn't like Viserys and
yeah, they all had purple eyes.
they all had the purple eyes.
They,
Okay.
I think they tried doing purple eyes on the pilot, but it didn't look right, so they just kind of went with.
Daenerys looks so different in the first season. Like,
Yeah.
I rewatched it and it was like I don't know. It's just like she's just younger and just looks.
Maybe
Drastically
playing a
different.
lot more innocent of a character,
Yeah.
essentially.
Well,
So-
Well, she is much more innocent.
So
well, yeah, she hardens out as the seasons progress, right?
Yeah.
She becomes more of a badass.
Yeah, the number of inspirational speeches per episode are going up drastically now. So the idea is that because those liberties were taken with a Targaryen, fast forward about maybe 20 years. No, it would be. I don't know how many years it would be. How old is Tyrion supposed to be?
I think he's like in his 30s.
Is he 30s?
I think he's close to 30 because he's the youngest of them.
Yeah.
And like I think he's like late 20s, early 30s at his
So
best.
something like
fast
that.
forward, Daenerys gets pregnant by Drogo, and Mirri Mazdor, the witch,
Yeah.
does blood magic. And what she's actually doing is saving the child, essentially. She does keep the child, but it's replaced. They have like a weird time baby swap from what Tywin's wife has, who is a stillborn because of the weird mixing of bloodlines. Blood magic happens. That baby dies in the womb, gets swapped with Tyrion, who is actually Daenerys' child from the fucking future. And that's who gets birth. That's why. That's why Tywin's wife dies in birth, is because of the weird blood magic timey-wimey bullshit.
But
I like how you had to use the Doctor Who reference there. That was funny. I know you don't understand the reference, but timey-wimey is like a staple for Doctor Who. Like, that's his big thing. And it's like, why can't you do this? Timey-wimey, mumbo-jumbo. Yeah, that's why. It just like
Sorry.
turns away.
I don't watch Britbone cartoons.
hey man,
It's not even a cartoon, you dick.
but
Good show, though.
like you say, Tywin's wife got impregnated at their wedding.
Yes.
When were
Tyrion-
Jamie and
They were born
Cersei-
before that.
They were before
Yeah.
the wedding. Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's why the thing is Tyrion killed the mom, so...
I know that, but I thought the wedding was before Jamie and.
It'd be a little weird if
what's
Tywin impregnated a dead wife.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little.
Yeah. I knew he was the youngest. I was just I thought that the wedding was before the twins were.
No.
No, no.
Cersei, that's her name.
No.
But the thing is, though, is with that theory, aside from the time traveling bullshit there, that would make sense because there's another fan theory that Jon takes over a dragon, Tyrion takes over a dragon,
3 heads of the dragon.
and
yeah.
Daenerys is the third.
I think that's kind of.
So, because like you were saying already, Aegon the Conqueror came over to conquer, and as Mac put it, it was him and his two sisters.
Yeah.
Well, if it's reversed this time, it's Daenerys and her two brothers.
Yeah. We call him Aegon the Conqueror, but it's only because he's conquering that puss.
That fool. Right. Yeah, but it could be still like even if it wasn't for the time traveling nonsense, like it could still be her two half brothers.
I'm paraphrasing the entire theory.
Yeah.
Well, of course.
Yeah, it's just when I was like avid, really avid about reading these fucking fan theories. And this was just a text post on the subreddit for A Song of Ice and Fire. And the way the guy worded it is like, holy fuck, that is the most batshit bullshit I've ever read about any fan theory.
You explaining it, even I was sitting there going, this, like, once you stopped talking about the time travel stuff, like, before you touched base on that, you were just, like, explaining the birth and all this stuff, I was like, okay, I'm intrigued. And then you're like, but now, it's swapping the future and the past, and you're doing the hand movements and shit, and I'm sitting there going, this is horseshit.
The idea is you've got Tywin's wife, I can't remember her name, and you've got Aegon making a weird, freaky, inbred baby.
Yes.
And then you've got Daenerys and Drogo with Miri Mazdur being the essentially, what is that weird phone box thing from Doctor Who? And
The
then
TARDIS.
and then you swap. And that's essentially what happens with Blood Magic.
But even if you ignore the swap, it could be feasible if it was just like the Mad King impregnates Tywin's wife.
That's why some people think he is a Targaryen. It's
Yeah, so then he could still be half Targaryen, and then
Yeah.
it would be her, Jon Snow, and Tywin would be.
Yeah, that's been a big theory, but that has been a theory for a while due to the fact of his stunted growth, because of how short he is. Because, like he said, the Targaryens are an elf breed, so they're gonna be short.
I think they're just supposed to be like weird elf people.
Yeah, so like that's been part of it, and like that's also been what the idea. Like his hair color is different, right? He's not that fucking blonde that the rest of them are. There's that.
Well, he's almost got a whitish hair in the books. It's
in the
pale.
books, I know. Like I'm talking show wise, they didn't try getting him.
He also
to
doesn't have a
whitish.
nose in the books.
Yeah, the books he also loses his nose instead of getting a scar.
Yeah, and he's got two mismatched eyes, and he's pale and misshapen, and he waddles.
Yeah, he's
everywhere.
got a green and
Yeah,
black eye.
exactly. We're just gonna pander to what we got.
I like when.
Because if we're gonna start going TV show to book, we're just gonna fucking throw the TV show at the fucking window at this rate.
I like in the
There's
books
so
when
many
they're
quarrels.
describing like how like people would come like, oh, look at our monster, or Cersei would like come like trying to like get people to look at Tyrion.
Yeah, watch our weird freaky brother. Let me twist his penis for you.
Oh yeah.
What a fucking weird part that was.
Yeah, where she's just like, oh, let's go see the monster. It's just a guy with like mismatched eyes and like really small.
He's like
and
beet
deformed
red,
and-
I think, at that point because he was crying so much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
so
let
like
me piss his or twist his penis and then
Like,
see how much.
when
he
have you
cries.
ever thought that? Like, that's so weird. I've never heard that in any other like book of fiction. Like, let's show someone this weird creature, and then showcase it by twisting its penis. Like,
Cersei's messed up.
yeah. When have you ever thought of winding something up like that?
How much did they bring up like her and like the fortune teller in the show?
They showed it in a flashback.
yeah, I was gonna say I think they've done it once, and that's about it. Well, like unless you know about the prophecy or like
The Valonqar?
yeah, the fate she's supposed to have.
Yeah.
Like you don't you won't be connecting the dots on.
Well,
it.
like all three of her kids have already died.
Well,
so
that's just it.
already-
Like what was it? Her three most
Gold
cherished-
will be their crowns, gold shall be their veils.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Yeah, but like it actually stood to like specific things. Like her kids were supposed to die. Her truest love is supposed to kill her.
No. The Valonqar will choke the life out of her. And that's where the theory comes in, because Valonqar is Valerian for younger brother.
Oh, okay.
And that could imply either Jaime, Tyrion, or even Sandor Clegane.
What?
Yep.
Okay, I don't know about this.
Okay, so
plot.
this is where
Shut up! I'm listening.
this is where, if you've ever heard the term Clegane Bowl, this is where this comes from. Clegane Bowl is essentially the trial by combat that Cersei is going to have under the dictation of the church.
Okay.
It's even happening in the show.
No, I figured that's like the next step.
Yeah, she chooses trial by combat. Who's her champion? The Zombie Mountain. Who's the Faith's champion?
Cool game.
They're going to introduce Clegane again. They have done that in the show.
Well, yeah, they brought him back as more of a religious like guy now.
Yep.
So.
He
Still
was
not really, but-
He was in the books technically. It was really heavily hinted that a character called the Gravedigger was actually Sandor being finding his faith and a new life. And it's kind of
Well, that's kind of what they just did with him, right? He was like helping out this like small village of people and stuff like that. And then people came murdered him, and he's like, "Well, fuck everybody."
they didn't do that in the books. In the books, he is over on the Quiet Isle, digging graves, and I think it's what's her name? Brienne finds the Quiet Isles. Excuse me. And she sees a guy who's like 6'4", and the only person she ever knew that was 6'4" is Sandor Clegane. And when she sees him, the guy's covering his face, hiding his identity. Brienne finds him at the Sister Isle, or Quiet Isles, I should say. Silent Sisters, I think they were nicknamed as well.
Yeah.
And she finds a guy who's 6'4". The only person she knew that was 6'4" was Sandor Clegane, who is quote unquote whoosh whoosh dead at that point. And when she sees him, the guy has a dog that comes up to him and nuzzles him, and he goes and pets the dog, and it fucks off. And that is all you really see about this guy. And it's also said that he has a limp when he's walking in the scene.
Oh, okay.
And you know that in the books that Sandor dies, whoosh whoosh dies, from a infection on his leg, from a wound that he takes at a bar. The scene where he gets they fight the biter with Arya.
Yeah.
That happens in the book, but he just gets a leg wound that becomes infected, and dies a very stinky death apparently.
Yeah, like the whole like him fighting Arya and thing and didn't really.
That
go
never
in the
happened.
book.
No.
No, I knew that wasn't in the
It was cool, and I wish that I hope there's this online where it's that scene, but it's got the Spock versus Kirk sign. Yeah. I want that scene. I want that scene with that music in it.
I'd find that.
So they see that guy, and they never elaborate on him. It's just kind of heavy hinted that may be Sandor Clegane.
Yeah, like
Some people think that in this battle that Cersei's going to have the trial by combat, that the Faith will bring in Sandor and it's a good way to kind of finish his plot in the books, essentially.
Well, like I think the big story arc for him, like that a lot of people see, is him conquering his fear, and his biggest fear is his brother, right?
His
like,
biggest fear is fire.
Well, yeah, but why is he afraid of fire? His brother shoved his face right into fire.
Yeah.
His biggest villain, even in the show, from what you can see, is his brother.
I like his fight with what's his name there?
The Mountain?
No, when he fights the guy with the 2 swords on fire.
Yeah, that look he gives.
Yeah, where where he's just like freaking out. Or what's his name? Not the morning night. I don't remember.
Skip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that's a good one. And like they're trying to close up where it's the 2 Cleganes need to fight off against each other.
Essentially.
Yeah, they've been teasing that and slowly leading to it without really throwing it out there.
That's the idea, though, is that he is going to come fight in the trial by combat against his brother, the Mountain, and he's going to win, fulfilling the prophecy that the Valonqar, the younger brother, will be the one that chokes the life from her, that she will be sentenced to death by the hand of the younger brother.
Oh, okay. Now I get where you're coming from. Because at first I thought you were referring to the fact that like the Hound was a younger brother. So I'm like,
he is the younger brother of the Mountain.
Yeah, the Mountain. Like that's where it's that like little fine lining that like your assumptions are going to be to these people, but it's just that nice little twist to shove in there, right?
Yeah, I'm thinking they're definitely going to do that in the show.
Actually,
they've already gone
fantastic.
They've already gone like fan canon heavy in the past season, which
like
don't get me wrong, I love
Jon
it.
Snow being
apparently that wasn't as fan canon as you think. Apparently that was originally the plot line for him. They just never actually got around to.
And if you paid attention to your audiobooks, McAvoy, you would know this already.
Like even I know that, and I'm only 3.5 way into the.
Even
series.
Dumbo knows it.
Is that actually like confirmed in the books?
Oh yeah.
It's implied.
Woosh confirmed.
But like the books don't really confirm anything. Like the whole like where like the cold hands, when that's the thing where everyone assumes it's Benjen kind of thing.
I thought that
George R. Martin's like, no, it's not Benjen. And then
they made it.
In the show he is Benjen.
There's a few things I have to say about that, more or less. First off, the makeup they put on his character in the show was god awful. You could see his collar. There was no makeup on his collar. It was just his face, and even that was splotchy. His skin was under it. That was a bit shoddy.
Yeah.
In the books, it's really the best piece of evidence that Jon Snow, his mother, is Lyanna Stark, is that Daenerys has a hallucination in the House of the Undying, where she's at the wall, and there's a chip in the wall, like the wall.
Oh, okay.
And a blue rose, I think, is sticking out of it. And if you've kept up to what happens at the jousting tournament that Rhaegar takes Lyanna, he gave her the crown of blue roses. And that it's implied that a part of Lyanna is at the wall, hence Jon Snow's mother is Lyanna Stark.
Oh, okay.
And that's one of the more heavy-handed pieces of evidence they give you.
Mm-hmm.
Regarding Benjen, though,
I remember George R. Martin says like, no, it's not him.
He
No,
said
go
no.
away.
But you got to remember that piece of paper made it online. I don't think he would have confirmed it, even if that was the intention that it was Benjen.
Yeah.
Like, are you just gonna editor is poking his nose into theories? Do you want to either confirm his suspicion for no fucking reason when he's asking you questions? He's your editor. You tell him no, so he continues doing what he's supposed to do.
Yeah.
Editing your fucking work. You know, I don't know why everybody takes that as concrete evidence. It's like, well, he wouldn't have confirmed it either way.
No.
Obviously, the guy didn't want to say that, because if he did, then it would have made it online anyways, and this wouldn't be a huge fucking mystery.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, like, I don't know why everybody quotes that as, like, a big piece of evidence that Benjen was not cold hands.
Yeah.
You know? But other than that, it's like, They're probably going to do the Clegane both, I think.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't doubt it if they did, you know?
Yeah, my one big disappointment with the changes is the wall section of the book is drastically different for like minimal reasons for some things, where it's like the whole like Sam going to
See, these are characters at the wall you have a quarrel with, not the wall itself.
No, I don't have a problem with the wall.
The
wall's
circumstances
the
of this
circumstances around the wall.
Yeah.
And the Night's Watch, where like a lot of like the Stannis is pretty different, like the Northerners, and it's just like the whole system is weird. And then the one thing where I was like, why did they do this? Was the whole when Sam goes to Old Town.
Yes, Old Town.
Yeah, okay, and then he goes to be a maester.
A master.
Where it was in the book. It was John's idea, and Sam was adamantly against it.
Yep.
And then in the show, it was Sam's idea, and John was adamantly against it. I'm like, why? And it was just like, it was like they kind of had reasons, but it was just like forced change.
That's also a minor thing to have a quarrel.
No, and then like the whole thing, like there's a reason why Gilly was all sad because she left her baby behind and all that sad. And
yeah,
well, but that's in the book, and then like,
that's completely left out of the show.
And that's completely left out of the show. And then she like her whole thing was like she was sick and just like miserable the whole time. And then Sam's like trying to like console her and shit. And then in the book, it's just like Sam's just throwing up on the boat the whole time, and she's consoling him. And it's just like they're unnecessarily.
Gilly's a fucking trooper in the books, man.
Yeah.
She's a fucking soldier, man.
Yeah. And here she's
consoling her chicken shit boyfriend, even though her baby was just killed from where she just went. And she's also got like the pickled body of a Targaryen that she's like entrusted to look over.
See, the thing is, though, is like, I don't know, like I suppose I understand your quarrel, at least with like her storyline, like leaving the kid behind, that's like a character defining moment. That shows what she's made of, right?
Mm-hmm.
Stuff like that stuff, yeah, I agree they should have put in. With you saying how she's this big, tough person in the books, where she comes off as more of like a very independent and strong woman, in the show, with what they've put her in, when you see her, you don't get that often. You don't see her as being tough. You kind of see her being shy and scared off by everybody around her. That's the impression they give her. So by making Sam seem weaker than her in a sense, like yeah, he stands up to like the people trying to touch her, shit like that. So yeah, he puts on a strong front, but like him getting sick and her having to console him, that's showing how she's stronger than him, right? So it does that differences in that sense, where you can still give her that look of she's independent and she can handle her own, without compromising Sam a bit. But he's always been, since you've seen him, that lovable fat fun guy, right?
So that's the difference.
Yeah.
Though. Because in the books here, she's actually way more retarded than the show actually paints her to be. And I think the show's difference on that point is because Sam is such a likable character, where in the books he's kind of like
he's a pansy.
He's a big fucking bitch. He's a huge bitch.
And then he just like when he when he gets the Slayer nickname, and it's just
it's like that's the whole joke. Is
just
you
like
have context.
He just like backs into killing a White Walker, and then everyone calls him Slayer after that, just to like mock him.
It's like essentially the Everything's Coming Up Millhouse of A Song of Ice and Fire.
Yeah.
Everything's coming up, Sam.
I think the reason that the character dynamic is different is because the book kind of paints him a little bit more like a bitch, and that the character of Gilly is a little bit more daft. But because Sam is such a likable character in the show, you have to paint he's relatable, so by extension you have to make the character attractive to the viewer as well as the main character, so you can relate to why they like each other.
No, fair enough.
And you can't make her stupid and attractive at the same time. So she's a bit more played like an innocent girl than fucking somebody who's like an inbreeded retard who Sam only likes because she's just there, you know?
Yeah.
So it's a different dynamic altogether, and I don't fault them for doing it. It's by extension a problem because it's a television show. You don't have that inner monologue that Sam has, you know? And if you did, it'd be like, oh crap, we'd be on season 10 by now. It'd be like whole episodes of fucking reading. books and shit, you know?
Pretty close.
Books and books. They're like mandated lesbian appearances and time traveling space babies, really.
Where the fuck? Actually, speaking of the whole, well, I wouldn't say necessarily lesbian thing, but the whole abbreviated term that they have there, the 17 letters, they're actually starting to be more embraced on other shows. Like, as much as I know you don't watch British cartoons, as you put it,
Yep.
in Doctor Who, the newest companion they brought on is apparently supposed to be of homosexual orientation.
Is that a plot point? Because if it is, I hate it already.
No, I don't think it's a plot point, because like every time he always gets like another companion, but as the series has progressed, it's always the Doctor's a guy, he's got a female companion, and like there's always like this very like subtle sexual tension or like attraction there.
Is it subtle?
No, it is, because the idea is the Doctor's daft because he's from space. He doesn't understand like a lot of general things. He doesn't understand how to like go, hey, how are you, and shit like that. He can with his companion. Like, he gets one companion, that's how he kind of goes.
Yeah.
And, like, the companion is his communication skills with people. Because, like, even when Peter Capaldi took over in the first series, one of his first episodes, he's sitting there talking, and then it's like, who's this girl to you? And he's like, and then she straight up says, he's like, I'm his carer. And his immediate response is, yeah, she cares, so I don't have to, and he walks off. That's his line. And that's literally the premise behind it, is he has a female companion that basically deals with everybody else, and he just deals with the problem.
Doesn't he have 4 hearts?
Huh?
Doesn't he have 2 hearts? How many
He has 2
penises does he have?
Huh?
How many penises does he have?
0.
As far as I know, just
That's
one.
where his second heart is.
Oh, yeah.
No, they have 2 hearts. It's like a whole regeneration thing, which actually the original idea for the regeneration was just coincidental. Because when the first guy, he was very ill, he couldn't continue, so they were going to stop the show. He was ill. The camera actually panned to white right around the final scene, and it was coincidental that they could actually fill in the slot with another actor, and they used it as a regeneration. He died but came back as something else. He looks different, sounds different,
Isn't it like
dresses different, da-da-da-da-da.
like any injury to his person, he just like explodes into like
No,
white and then becomes a different fucking actor?
not at all.
No?
There's one where he actually gets his hand completely cut off. They just keep it in a jar, and then
So-
someone regrows a new Doctor off of that.
Quick question.
Yeah.
David Tennant played,
Yes, he
The
played the
Doctor.
Doctor.
Was he-
awesome.
He was in. Yeah,
So
he,
he
was
was
one of
good?
the better ones.
so he was good?
Yes.
Why is everything I see David Tennant in, he's fucking awful? He was
it
awful
depends.
in Harry
See,
Potter, and he was awful in fucking Jessica Jones.
See, the thing is, you gotta understand the method behind the actor, I guess, in a sense. Because I saw him originally it was Harry Potter, Doctor Who, then Jessica Jones. I enjoyed him in Jessica Jones strictly because I enjoyed the range of acting capabilities he has. Because if you
Jessica.
no, it's because in Doctor Who, he doesn't play that.
Jessica.
Yeah.
Who's he in Harry Potter? One of the.
He was in the one where he was Mad Eye Moody. He
Plays Mad Eye Moody. He is disguised as
Oh,
Mad Eye Moody
that's
temporarily.
like
He's the guy that
the
licks his
Half-Blood
lip all the
Prince?
time.
Yeah.
No,
No, wait.
the one before.
The Goblet of Fire.
There
Yes.
Okay.
Did you put your name in the Goblet of Fire?
Yeah.
You remember that? No?
I'm trying to remember.
See, your thing is you've seen him in 2 villain roles, which are very similar.
He was awful
Yes.
in them.
No. See, that's just it, though, is for Jessica Jones, he wasn't. If you actually know the character he played, it was pretty good. I do agree to the Jessica nonsense that they did, but every time they played that scene, they always slowed it down and dragged it out.
Yeah.
So you would hear him say Jessica over and over in that really shitty tone, very slowed down.
That was all the
and it was-
advertising I saw.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But have you seen the show?
No, because
Exactly my point. You don't know. That's it. You're basing his acting chops in that show based off that. You
Okay.
basing his acting chops off of Harry Potter, I agree with you, wasn't the best role he's had. However, in Doctor Who, he plays a completely opposite role. He's energetic, he's more out there, he's just fucking wild and crazy. He literally references Harry Potter in one of the episodes.
Take a breath and stop trying to talk over me.
I'm talking over you because you're putting in points that are irrelevant at this point.
No. My thought was, I hope he's good as a doctor,
Yes.
because everything else I've seen him be is shit. And I
You
haven't
can't say you've seen him in Jessica Jones, though.
I've seen advertising. I said everything I've seen him in. I didn't say I've watched Jessica Jones. I said I've saw ads for it.
Actually, you implied at the
I
beginning.
never implied anything.
Yes,
I
you did.
inferred it.
You said everything I've seen him in,
No, he
Jessica
inferred-
Jones and Harry Potter. You said that you had seen him in, and you clarified the 2. Meaning you did not specify only advertisement.
Let's cur-
Also, hey, shut up. This also goes into the point of you And
This just isn't people. Apparently, if you talk loud enough, it inserts words into other people's mouths.
no,
Life pro tip.
you implied. That's the word I was looking for. You implied it. You did not specify. So my implication of that is all based off you. You could easily stated Jessica Jones advertising. You did not.
For my point, I don't have to specify shit. I'm just saying David Tennant is bad. He should feel bad.
But he's not. That's like me saying an actor you enjoy is bad just because I don't like something he's in. That does not change shit. You may not like Kevin Smith at all and hate all of his movies. I still
Do you really want me to dedicate, like, an hour of my time to watch a Jessica Jones episode just to reaffirm my fucking opinion that David Tennant is bad in it?
Not necessarily, because it might not be the right episode either. Like, you gotta
Moving the goalpost.
a little bit.
Yeah, every time we get there, we're gonna move it a little bit further.
No, it's like, do you
The
want me
thing
to
is-
watch it? No, please don't. It might be a bad one.
No, see, the thing is, though, is you're basing it off of, like, okay, yeah, you see any episode of anybody, if that character isn't played right off that one episode, yeah, you're gonna hate the actor. But especially in a TV series, they're building a character.
Yeah.
And it's not just the first time you see them. Yeah, they're supposed to portray what that character's supposed to be. Yes, I agree. And if you can't do that properly, it's going to flop for the rest of it. I do agree. However, if you're just going to base it off, okay, I'm watching the very last episode, let's see what happens, and then you're going to base it off that doesn't work. You don't know how it leads up to that. You don't know the character behind it. And then when it comes to watching the series itself, Jessica Jones is a very unknown series to begin with. Do you know who Jessica Jones is, aside from the fact that they made a TV show about her?
Fuck no.
Exactly. Matt, do you know anything
I
Jessica
know
Jones?
that the villain's name is Kilgrave.
Yeah, that's stupid.
Can we
Yeah.
talk, or are you on?
No, I asked you a legitimate question.
If I talk, are you gonna just?
I'm
start
asking you a
yelling
question.
Right after
I'm
I say-
asking you a question.
Can I talk, or can I just?
I'm
answer the
asking you a question. If you answer my question, you can talk.
Feel free to unsubscribe right now. Keep going, or
Yes, no, you
start
can
yelling
elaborate. No,
from
you
now
can
on?
elaborate.
Okay, we can all calm down and crank it down.
Okay,
to like
irrelevant
7.
to that. Keep going on with your subject.
Okay, just talk. I don't care.
This is my point. Jessica Jones isn't well known. Kilgrave himself isn't well known. Because originally, David, if you really want to go to specifics, David Tennant did an awful job. He wasn't purple like the character's supposed to be. He wore purple suits instead. Which is also what the character does, but it doesn't qualify.
Yeah.
So how does that work? But that goes for anything. We just went on a huge rant about how Game of Thrones, how the eye colors were different, how the skin tones were different, how Tyrion Lannister, almost in, I would say a good 75% of his entirety of that show, is all changed from book, strictly because it just works better.
I never said Game of Thrones was bad because their purple eyes were not there.
No, I'm saying as a general. If we're going to start picking at a character because they're not identical to how they should be.
That's not what he's talking about.
I know that's not what he's getting at. I'm touching a separate
Okay.
turn.
Take
Okay.
take a breather here. The point you're making is completely different from what I'm saying. I'm saying I dislike Tennant and I think he's bad because everything he does is over the top and bad in my opinion.
But also that thing for Jessica Jones, that's like 90% direction and 10% acting.
I could be completely wrong on it.
Like-
That's what I'm saying. I'm hoping he's good as the Doctor
Well,
because
the thing is, though, is I'm
pause for a second. I'm not saying that Doctor Who is bad by extension, and I'm not saying that Jessica Jones is bad by extension. I may be implying it because I've never seen it.
Jessica
I've
Jones
seen
is
bad
bad.
advertising.
no, Jessica Jones is bad. No, I'm not.
So why the fuck are you defending it?
I'm not. I'm defending David Tennant as an actor specifically. And
Okay.
actually, it's not even that I'm defending. I'm defending the fact of you can't strictly go off of he's a horrible actor because you're going off of advertisement. The
Okay.
only advertisement that he literally got for that show was him saying that fucking name. That was it. Literally, that was it because that's all they could give you without giving away the story.
Also said he was bad in Harry Potter.
Yeah, but his actual acting chops in Harry Potter.
So my point is,
to one scene of him licking his lip.
So my point is, I've seen ads for him in Jessica Jones and I've seen him in Harry Potter. 2 out of 3 things that I know of him being in are bad. Therefore, my opinion of him being bad is an opinion. And you getting so fucking upset over this is baffling to me.
The fact of you using very vague reasons to be like, yep, it's fucking awful and you won't even give it a shot, that drives me.
Because exposure to media formulates an opinion in me. I'm expressing my opinion.
To an extent, I agree. To an extent, I agree. I'm not going to sit here and be like, you have to watch Jessica Jones.
Did you
'cause
like?
David Tennant
Did
did
you
it.
like him in Harry Potter?
He was in it for a scene. Literally a scene.
He was in it for 3 scenes.
Was it literally 3?
Yeah, I know because they were all bad, and I fucking remembered how bad they were. Did you know that people?
He changed out of the fucking.
Did you know
thing,
people accredit him
licked
as
his
being
lip?
good in that role because he fucking licked his lip, and it's like, oh, it's a quirky thing
No,
he
see,
thought of for the character.
see,
that
but
means he's good at his
No,
job.
See, but that's just it though. Is Does he have, honestly, because I don't remember, I'm asking you just in case you do, does he have any lines in Harry Potter?
Yeah, he has a few of them.
Okay, I actually did not
Mostly,
know. Literally, the only scene I remember him in is when they capture him after he's no longer Mad Eye Moody. Which isn't him, that's the only time he acts is when he's finally caught.
He's in I think 2 or 3 flashbacks in the scene where he's caught as being Mad Eye Moody.
Yeah, being the final
reason
reveal.
I think he's terrible is because his character in that, it's not his lines and the way he says them, it's the way he portrays the character as being so fucking overtly evil that there's no semblance of subtlety to his character. There's he's a villain. He's an evil guy because bad guys are snakes in Harry Potter, and what does he do? He flicks his fucking tongue like a snake.
Oh,
Isn't that fucking quirky and great
okay,
directing?
Okay, no.
It's bad, man.
My reason for being annoyed with you is completely irrelevant now. Because your issue with it is you're now no longer being annoyed at him and his character, because the character he played was meant to be that way. The reasoning is...
I never said Kilgrave was bad.
No, I'm not talking Kilgrave.
I still think Kilgrave is bad.
We're not talking
It's a completely separate point.
Kilgrave's stupid. Fuck that shit.
His name is fucking Kilgrave.
We're not touching base.
How good of a character
I'm
can you expect?
talking about his Mad Eye Moody character. The reason he portrays to be that so evil is because he's supposed to be one of those right-hand man to Voldemort that don't give about anybody else except for their way.
Yeah.
So him portraying that evil like that is intentional because of that. But as soon as you start going, oh, of course it has to be ridiculous because of all these other reasons, and you're poking fun at the entire franchise, you can't fracture that down to one character who's trying to play in said franchise. Of course he's going to try and correlate it and connect it so that it stays with the franchise. You're not going to see him go out and do Kilgrave, start licking his lip like that, or do Doctor Who and start licking his lip like that. It doesn't work. It doesn't work for that character. It worked for the one, so he did it. Yes, I agree, it's a stupid little quirk, but however, it worked. It panders to that fandom. It panders to the fans of that series. So it works.
He didn't do the snake tongue thing in the books.
No, whatever. People who watch the movie enjoy it better because he did that. Do I agree with it? No. Do you agree with it? No. But that doesn't make him a bad actor for it. He took something and went with it.
So the goal? Are you trying to change my opinion about this? Because this is not working.
I
still think he's terrible.
There's no way I'm going to change your opinion about this. I already know that.
Yeah.
I just don't agree with your reasoning behind it.
Because he fucking represented 2 or 3 characters I know terribly, and I haven't seen the third one.
I don't think you could say that he represented Jessica Jones his Kilgrave and Jessica Jones terribly off of advertisement. I'm saying you can say you didn't like him in you're basing your whole opinion on an actor on 3 scenes and an advertisement.
Pretty much, yeah.
This is why I'm arguing with you. Is because you're literally, it's like me literally picking up Destiny, looking at the cover in the back, throwing it down, going, game's awful, it has Bungie on it, I'm done.
No, but
that's literally the equivalent. I would have seen trailers. I would know who Bungie is.
You're putting words in my mouth.
No. The equivalent would be playing the first 20 minutes and saying it was terrible.
Yeah, or seeing
I've played more than 20 minutes and I still find Destiny stupid.
That's different.
That's
a
a
different
separate point.
No, I know. I was just throwing that in there.
So no. Because you agreed with me that Kilgrave is bad.
Yes.
You agreed with me that his character in Harry Potter was bad. And I said I hope that his character as Doctor Who is good. And you're still arguing my point against me here for some reason.
I think there's a difference between the character being bad and the acting of the character being bad.
And I should be more specific. Yeah, that's exactly
what I think that's where we're having a quarrel, is I'm taking it as a whole more or less, and I'm trying to defend the actor more than his characters. I will agree with you, because like you said, he's in 3 scenes. There's not really much acting chops you can really do for that. Your reason for... Well, I guess that calls it for this week. We'll touch base on this next week.